guys, it's Lilly May coming to you live from Las Vegas.
And Renee coming to you live from New York.
I am so excited for today's episode. We have a lot of really cool things planned. And yeah, I'm really excited.
Yeah, it's so cool. Tonight we get to play the interview that we did just about a week ago with Ashley, who is Mrs. Universe. It's incredible. And we talked to her about a lot of things. So everybody get ready to learn a lot about some very positive material.
Yeah, Ashley is the current Mrs. Nevada Universe. I had a lot of fun getting to talk with her. And also, because I haven't noticed, LindaRose couldn't make today's episode live, unfortunately, but she did record a short interview, which shows you guys on here. So we're going to play that right before we go to Ashley's interview.
Excellent. All right. You want me to play it now?
Yeah, sounds good.
All right. So stay tuned for this and the interview, everybody.
Hi, everybody. It's LindaRose. I am so sorry that I could not make it on tonight. Totally my fault. Should have planned ahead better, but anyways, school life it's the end of the year, so scheduling is being moved around quite a lot for me because of senior SATs and a bunch of testing, midterms, and finals that I have going on at the moment. So it's just a lot going on. I just plan on planning it out a bit better next time. But I hope you guys really enjoyed today's episode. I was very happy with the interview and how everything worked. I was not included in this interview because I had something else to do. Luckily, the gorgeous Renee, our producer, took over for me, which I'm super grateful for. I hope you guys all enjoyed this interview, and please let us know if you have any questions or anything or any suggestions of people you want us to interview in season 3. We'll make sure to get back to you. Thank you so much for tuning on. Bye!
Ashley, thank you so much for coming on today to do an interview with us.
So good to see you guys and meet you. Finally.
You too. I'm so honored to have you on. For our first question tonight, I was wondering if you could introduce yourself and talk to us a bit about your journey.
Yes, of course. So I'm Ashley Tesoro. I don't know if you can see it because it's such a close-up, but I am Mrs. Nevada Universe. And I was formerly Mrs. Nevada America and also Mrs. Nevada International. So I've actually been a 3-time consecutive title holder for our state, which is a huge honor, and just really excited to, continue to represent.
That's awesome.
Oh, wow, that's so amazing.
Yeah. What inspired you to start doing pageants?
Well, I actually started when I was 6 years old. So I was a singer. And my mom had heard from one of my friend's parents that I could sing because I was over at a friend's house and we were doing like the Little Mermaid play and having fun. And she's like, do you know your daughter can sing? You should put her in some kind of singing or beauty pageants. And that's how it started. So my mom put me in my very first beauty pageant, the Stars of Tomorrow pageant. And I basically just did really well. I went on to win multiple titles as a child. And then I was discovered by a Hollywood manager and agent and was in Hollywood and then circled back around to pageants. So it really started for me when I was really young.
Wow, that's amazing. It's so cool hearing about people who started doing what they're doing really young. I know I started music at 6 too, so that's super cool.
Oh my God. No, I've seen some of your music. You're such a beautiful singer.
Oh, thank you so much. It means a lot to me. You're amazing too. You have a beautiful voice.
Thank you.
I was wondering if you could talk to us some about your experiences so far with being Mrs. Nevada and what opportunities has it opened for you?
Oh yeah. So for me, being Mrs. Nevada has been just a huge blessing. I do a lot of work in the community. I work with multiple charities. I work with Living Grace Homes, 3 Square. I work with my own foundation, the Tesoro Ministry Foundation, where we do a lot of faith-based outreach and help to supply people with basic necessities that are underprivileged, both in the US and around the world as well. And then there's lots of other stuff like appearances and modeling, and endorsements. I model for a lot of different companies. I usually start by talking about the charity work though, because that's, I think, the most important thing. I get to really influence positively people that need it in the community through my platform as Mrs. Nevada.
Wow, that is so awesome. That's so inspiring.
Thank you.
How has being Mrs. Nevada helped you grow, and what has it taught you?
Oh, I love that question. So I think, we can always strive to be more selfless. And I think people have a perception about beauty pageants that we are women that are kind of like obsessed with ourselves or self-absorbed. We just get on stage with makeup and hair and gowns, and it's just about that. But really, beauty pageants, especially for married women, is beauty first on the inside that then permeates to our outside. So of course, we are women that take care of ourselves and we try to live healthy and all that, but we have to be women that are beautiful on the inside. And what I love too about the married women system of pageants is that we are all about embracing all women that are of different age group, ethnicity, race, size. There's women that I compete with that are built, more smaller. There are some that are built curvier, some that are built shorter, some that are built taller. I love, we have African-American women, Asian women, white women, Hispanic women. I think that we really cover the range in the married women's pageant of just showing diversity. And I really love that. And I think that that has been something that I've loved because it's been really an embracing of so many different cultures and people and women that have different backgrounds that I've really enjoyed spending time with and getting to know and really embracing who they are.
Wow, that's amazing. I know diversity is so important. And something we talk a lot about here on Orchid Times is raising awareness for body positivity. And I loved what you were saying earlier. I was wondering, from your experiences, is there anything that you see in this line of pageants that can be improved to raise more awareness for body positivity?
Oh, yeah, of course. So I think, in married women's pageants, we're put in fitness outfits or bathing suits. And I personally love that. I love that. I think sometimes though, like if a woman feels uncomfortable doing that maybe there should be an alternative as far as, like I said, we all come in different shapes and sizes. And I think that, when a woman is getting on stage, she should rock herself like out there and be confident no matter what her size is, no matter what her skin color is. We are all gorgeous and beautiful no matter what. I think though that it would be amazing to give women some options because sometimes they don't feel comfortable in a fitness outfit or they don't feel comfortable in a bathing suit. And again, just continuing to bring diversity in the judging. So when we have judges that represent all different types of people, then we're going to get a plethora and more of a variety of winners. And I think that we're seeing that a lot now more than ever. And I think that we should just continue to grow in that and continue to, endorse that and support that, because I think it's amazing to see all women represented in the pageant, not just one stereotype.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really powerful to hear. And that's really influencing everybody in such a positive direction. So thank you for talking about that. So what advice would you have for girls who maybe are interested in doing pageants, but they're really nervous about it?
Yeah, well, I think that that's normal. I mean, I've been doing this my entire life and I still get nervous. So it's totally normal to feel that way. I think that starting on stage in some way, so do your school talent show, do a local play, do start with kind of getting your relatives together and friends and saying, oh, I want to show you my talent. I think that kind of putting yourself out there in small ways will give you confidence to kind of grow and build to eventually make it to that, pageant stage. And I think just believing in yourself and knowing that you're one of a kind. You can't compare yourself to somebody else. You were not born to be somebody else. You were only born to be you. And if you show that to the judges and you reveal your true heart and who you really are, if you have a good judging panel, they're going to absolutely love you and embrace you because, again, we're moving in a direction of diversity. And, I think that that's very important. And I think that pageantry is actually, if you enter into the right pageant, it's actually a big confidence booster for a lot of young girls because they see, oh, wait, I can get out there and I can be myself and I can express myself and I can be proud of who I am. So again, I'm trying as Mrs. Nevada and as a pageant title holder to really help with propelling this industry forward, that it should be about positivity. It should be about the sisterhood. It should be about confidence building. And even me, I've been a judge for the little girls, and there's a certain number of that I won't go under. Like I won't judge somebody under a certain number because I just don't think that that's right. I think judges that give a child a 2 out of 10 it's not really appropriate. I wouldn't even do that to a grown woman. So I'm trying to, just through my example and through who I've been in this industry, to move it forward. And, you know, even me being a former Hollywood actress, returning to pageants, you don't see a lot of Hollywood women that have been actresses doing pageantry. But again, I want to break those barriers and those walls and those stereotypes, and just let it be something where we're women supporting women, girls supporting girls, and we're building our stature as women and confidence in supporting and loving each other. And that's really what it should be about.
I love that response. There was so much really powerful insight in there, and a lot of great tips and stuff for any young girls who might be interested in doing pageants. And I especially loved what you were saying about confidence building. I think it's really important to build your confidence on stage and in public, and it's something that is so great. And I'm glad to hear about everything that you're doing to help build young girls' confidences.
Thank you.
You've done so many incredible things, from pageants to modeling and also acting.
Yes.
Could you talk to us some about your experiences with acting and how you got started with it?
Yes. So, you know, I mentioned to you that I was involved with beauty pageants. So that's kind of how it started. So I was, you know, really just like loving doing pageants. And then an agent came, and they one day came to this modeling competition that I was in San Diego, and they discovered me basically. And I won the modeling competition, and they brought me into Hollywood, and that's how it started.
Oh, that's really awesome. Yeah, there's such a connection between modeling and acting, and it's really a lot of the same skill set, you know?
Absolutely. I think it's, you know, really just putting yourself out there and having confidence and owning who you are. And I think there was probably, if I remember, about 100 kids that were involved in this competition in San Diego. And I was really, really surprised that I won it, because there was a lot of beautiful, you know, and talented, gifted kids. But I think, again, it was just about owning who I am and showing my heart and letting that kind of shine through, which I think is so important in life. It brings life to who you are when you let your inside show. And, you know, from there, I just started auditioning for commercials. I started booking commercials. I started booking modeling opportunities for like Levi jeans, and I did Tommy Hilfiger, and I did LA Gear shoes, and I did cereal commercials. And then I auditioned for Saved by the Bell, which is still going, but I was in the class a long time ago. And that franchise is still going. And I got the job, and that really launched me. That was when I was 14 years old, and that really launched me in television. And I started doing a lot of, you know, kids movies, and then I was on a soap opera, The Bold and the Beautiful. And I just really had a really strong work ethic, but also, I mean, something aligned for me in that good fortune and blessing, because there's a lot of really gifted, talented kids just like me, and they didn't get those opportunities. So I think hard work and just it all coming together in the right timing. And I'm very thankful, you know, I'm very thankful. And it really was a blessing for me in my life. And I do singing. And so when I was young, when I was on the soap opera, they had me sing a lot of songs on the show. So I got to exercise modeling, you know, acting, singing. And then I took some time off. I'll take a beat and let you ask the questions. There's so much more to tell, but I'm going to take let you lead the interview.
Well, I think that this question will dovetail probably with where you were going to go. I was going to ask about how your experience in acting helped you in the other aspects of your career and how that worked. So I think that's kind of where you were going.
Yes. So, so how my acting kind of helped shape everything else?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Well, just the visibility. So obviously having that opportunity was amazing. You know, when you become like a series regular on a show, all of a sudden you are visible and, you know, a viable candidate for other opportunities, and just working every day, being in front of the camera, you know, reading, you know, having to memorize lines, having to, you know, work with people that were older than me. I worked with a lot of adults, which was a maturation for me, where I really matured quickly. And, you know, just people, even when I went into the pageant industry back again as an adult, everyone was excited because I was, you know, a former soap opera actress and television actress and sitcom actress. So they're like, oh, wow, this is really cool. You're, you know, already known in TV, and you've already done so much, and you want to come and, you know, grace our stage. And so it had kind of already given me that little bit of notoriety coming back into the pageant industry. And, you know, Hollywood is a very interesting and sometimes dark place to be in, especially for a child. So it wasn't all good experiences, but if I look back on it, I would have chosen it all over again because I think the good outweighed the negative. And I happen to have very good parents that really kept an eye on things for me. And I was a young girl that was in church and had faith, and that worked for my advantage because it gave me a center and a grounding and a moral compass in that industry that can sometimes lack that. So I think I have a relatively positive story compared to some of the others that you would hear from young girls or boys that were in that industry, like at the same age as me.
Yeah, totally. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I thought it was so interesting to hear some about your experiences in the acting industry. So thank you so much for taking some time to share that with us. I know earlier you were talking to us a bit about all your community work you've done, and giving back to the community is so important and empowering. I was wondering if you could talk to us some more about all the nonprofit work you do to help out these organizations.
Yes, of course. So I'll talk to you about mine first. So I'm the executive vice president of the Tesoro Ministry Foundation. So when I was 18 and my husband was 23, and this was more than 20 years ago, I was in LA, I was on a soap opera. I walked into this Bible study that my friend had invited me to, and it was my, soon to be husband's Bible study. And he was, really helping people. And I really loved his perspective because he was young and he was very non-judgmental. And he welcomed people of all faiths and backgrounds. And a lot of Hollywood people came to his Bible study because, Hollywood people, there's a lot of diversity, and they really liked his positivity and his take on God's love. And basically, I fell in love with him. I married him 8 months later. We've been married for over 20 years, and I started helping him with his ministry. And so we run Tesoro Ministry Foundation. So we do faith-based outreach where we talk to people about God and about God's love. And we do the giving, as far as basic necessities. People need clothing, they need shelter, sometimes they need medical supplies. Our organization does what we can to partner with other organizations and help fund those things. And we do a lot of volunteer work through our organization and just hands-on stuff too, and public speaking and all that. And then through our organization, through my title as Mrs. Nevada, I've also partnered with a lot of other organizations. So like I was touching on earlier, helping the women and children, helping the food bank 3 Square. I've helped domestic violence victims through another organization called Shade Tree, and they help women that are been victims of domestic violence. I do a lot of work with other churches too. I do, I'll go and speak in churches and help. I did a women's conference recently and just kind of talk to the women about God's love and being empowered and being who God created you to be. And I think that love is so powerful. And so although my husband and I are Christians and we believe what the Bible says, at the same time, we believe that love is stronger than fear, that acceptance is stronger than browbeating somebody, that, we are designed by God with a purpose, that God loves all people, and that not one person is a throwaway. We are all in our own way broken in some way because human beings are not perfect. And so our message is come as you are. Come as you are, and we're not looking to change you, and you will transform like a butterfly. I don't think beating and hurting people and putting them down transformed anybody ever. And so, my husband and I are just regular people that came into this and said, oh, we're going to help people and we're going to share of God's love. We're going to do it differently than we've seen some people do it, and the same as the people we've seen do it that do it right. So that's our mission and our message, and that's what we've done. And, we try to, tie that in, like I said, with helping a lot of other organizations that need it. And I think we're stronger in numbers, so we can do a lot of work on our own. But when we join forces with other organizations that maybe have a different mission than we do, we can help and get things accomplished.
Wow. That's such a powerful message for everyone. And it's so beautiful. And I just love that idea of coming as you are, and you get more flies with honey than vinegar, definitely. And by encouraging people instead of trying to block people out or judge them or make them feel awful about themselves for any reason, or just judging people.
For sure. Because we're all equal and we're all loved by God and we're all flawed in some way. And, it's about surviving and then trying to thrive in life. You first are like, okay, I have to learn to survive in this life. It's crazy. And then you're like, okay, I'm surviving. Now I can, I want to learn to thrive, and I want to, have greater peace and joy and acceptance of myself and others. And, as Mrs. Nevada, people like the crown, and they like this, the accolades and the trophies. And so then they want to hear me more. I always joke that I've been sharing the same message forever, but for some reason with the crown, it's like, oh, wait, we want to hear, we love the crown. We want to hear what you have to say, but I think that's like, even with celebrities and everything, people like those types of shiny things. So, celebrities are heard more often, queens, you have a podcast or a platform, people find you to be more important, but really, we are who we are regardless. But it's just nice to have my voice be heard more, and then I can use that to do greater good. So I'm just trying to use the notoriety that I have and, this crown and these trophies to propel that message forward more. And so really that's what it comes down to. And then of course, like, I love getting on stage and wearing a gown. And I mean, we're not going to deny all the fun stuff.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work.
I love that response. It's so great.
Yeah, that is like so cool and so inspiring too. So then that leads me into the next question, which is that what's the most rewarding part for you about your work that you do for the community?
I would just say, just when somebody tells me, oh, wow, you really impacted my life. So that means so much to me, because sometimes I don't even realize who I'm impacting or how I'm making a difference. And then they'll tell me, and I see it in, the change that comes over them. They write me, or I run into them and they go, oh, wow, follow me on social media, Instagram, you really inspire me, or I get to know them or befriend them. And then I watch their transformation and they tell me, oh, that started with me being inspired by you, or you came and volunteered, or, whatever it may be. Just seeing the lives impacted, touched, changed, just that I can bring some type of joy or inspiration to somebody's life. That is very rewarding.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I'm sure it must feel amazing knowing that you're making an impact on these people's lives. And I would love getting to hear about all the different work that you do. I think it's so inspiring. Balancing is so important, whether you're in school or having a family. And I'm still learning how to balance everything with having a career and doing school. How do you balance your career with having a family?
So that is really a great question. Being a mommy of 3, that can be challenging at times. I have to learn to really organize. So sometimes it's a yes, I can do the interview, I can do the event, I can do the speaking engagement, and then sometimes I can't, and it's not because I don't want to, but because I have to prioritize my family, and I have to make sure that I'm being well balanced in my life and what I'm doing. So I try to be organized, prioritize, come up with a good schedule. I have a lot of good help from my mom, from my sister, from my husband. I have a great, that great support system. And I just go forward with what I know to be the most important to the least important. And sometimes those things that are not that important, I have to just knock off the day or that week or that month, because I know I can't do everything. I'm not Superwoman. I'm just me. So I think just organization, prioritizing, knowing what's important, planning, all those things really help.
Yeah, absolutely. Prioritization is so important.
Right. Having that team and learning how to delegate also, learning how to tell people what you need and ask for what you need is really instrumental, I think.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that prioritization and organizing has been something I'm really working on, because with my music and with doing talk show and Orchid Times and being in high school too, it's definitely a balancing act. And I thank you so much for sharing about your experiences with balancing everything.
Oh yes, for sure. And just don't be afraid to say no sometimes. These things seem simple, but they're so important in thriving in life. Just making sure that you're healthy internally and externally. Life success to me, I think, is all about balance. Otherwise, you might be successful in one area a ton, and everything else in your life is failing.
Thank you so much for being on here and doing an interview with us today. For our last question tonight, I was wondering if you could talk about where people can go to help follow and support you.
Yes, so everybody, you can follow me at Ashley Tesoro. That's Twitter, that's Instagram, that's Facebook. I'm not a one-woman army. I have to have people supporting me to do what I do, and that gives me wings to fly. So thank you for listening to this interview. Thank you for having me on. Thank you for everybody that follows my journey and that will, log on to follow my journey. And I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much. I've learned so much. I've learned so much, and I'm sure our audience will too. Yes, you had a lot of advice to offer, and we're just drinking it all up. So thank you.
Well, I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
That was such an amazing interview, and I was super glad to get the chance to talk with Ashley some.
Yeah, I really loved what she talked about with regards to balance and organization, especially I know you can relate as well. We're trying to organize everything and we want to do all the things that we want to do, but we have to learn how to say no sometimes and to realize what our limitations are so that we're staying moderate in how we're living our lives. I thought that was really cool. And I also loved how she talked about body positivity and using her voice, like understanding that she has a responsibility because of her popularity and fame to speak out for the things that she believes in and to really be a voice of impact in the community. That really spoke to my heart.
Absolutely. She brought up so many great topics, and it was a really powerful interview, and I was so glad to have her on and get to talk with her some. So for a few announcements before we end the episode, because today's interview was a little bit longer than usual, we're planning on skipping today's news segment, but we will be back on next week with a super cool news segment, so make sure you guys stay tuned for that. And also, our Nightingale full book discussion will be on April 26th. I am so excited. I literally binge read that book this weekend, and it was so amazing, and I'm so glad to get to discuss it with you guys.
Yeah, that's going to be so cool. And I'm almost done reading it. I'm not quite done, but I'm probably going to be done by that time. So it's going to be really cool for me to see what you have to say about it. And I'm just so excited because it's such a great book. And I've learned so much about history and also about writing and about how to write a really good detailed book and make people feel immersed in the story, because I feel like I'm totally connected to everything in the book and I want to learn how to be a better writer myself. So it's really awesome.
Absolutely. The book, it has a lot of really historical facts to it, and I've loved how it kind of fills in the gaps that some other books don't cover in that period of history, like women's roles in World War II. So I'm super excited to be able to discuss it.
Yes.
And also, next week, we are going to be airing an interview we did with Lilly. She is a 9-year-old entrepreneur and the founder of her own small business, Lilly's Aromas. This interview was so amazing to record, and I'm so excited to get to share it with you guys next week, so make sure to stay tuned for that.
Exactly. And you did hear her right. She said a 9-year-old entrepreneur. It is amazing, who makes awesome products, which, by the way, I'm going to purchase because it's like very quality work and she's so well spoken. And I learned a lot about business acumen just from that interview. So tune in, everybody. You want to see this.
Absolutely. Thank you all so much for being here today. I was so excited to be able to share this episode with you guys today. And thank you all so much for watching. See you guys next week.
See you next week. Thank you, everybody.